Talk about being ahead of its time. Excuse me while I geek out over this because this was one of my favourite TV shows growing up, and I would argue this show isn't even meant for kids and can definitely be enjoyed by adults to this day. Jeopardy follows the story of a group of Scottish high schoolers who go on a trip to Australia to hunt for UFOs. It's a Blair Witch styled show, with the opening scene being bush rangers finding the kids' VHS tapes. And then we jump back to the start.
Mr. Simmons, I think you've got to take the lion's cap off first, sir.
Hello, I'm Jerry Simmons, a former teacher at the West Falkirk Academy and founder of the school's UFO Club. Now, these people with me are all winners. They put their name in a draw last week to go on the club's annual trip, and this year it's a very special trip. It's to find spacemen,
Aliens. Martians.
extraterrestrial activity in Australia. Quiet.
If you're wondering why the acting is a little subpar, that would be because this is actually a kids show. This aired from 2002 to 2005 on a channel called ABC 3 for Kids.
Prime Minister, it looks like it's time. Let's do what you came here for, okay? Are you ready to launch this channel?
As long as someone shows me how to.
It may have been on some other channels, but I was in the sort of household that couldn't afford anything like Foxtel or any sort of like subscription TV channel that you had to pay for, so this was the free TV channel that I watched it on. I remember watching it religiously after school or whenever the reruns would play. I actually give so much credit to this show for my love of horror, filmmaking, and just VHS cameras, and just the art and the style of this filming. As you can see, this sort of style now has been copied by many YouTubers who vlog and make videos online. Within each episode, there was always a cliffhanger at the end, leaving kids wanting more. Each episode would go a little something like this. Start the day, an incident occurs, stress out and record said thing that happens. This could be anything from getting bit by a venomous snake to flashing lights appearing in the sky at night. And then we'd be left wondering. We'd have to wait a whole week for the next episode to air. Looking back on this show, I still find enjoyment out of the fact that it's shot in the outback and all the scenery still feels to this day like home. I wonder why. This show is fully watchable on YouTube thanks to this amazing uploader, God bless. I don't know how I would ever be able to find it or watch it if it wasn't uploaded here. If you scroll through the comments, you'll see a lot of the same thing. How was this a kid's show? Now sure, it's a little corny and the acting is a bit eh.
Now, we'll be using all of our usual monitoring equipment, but we'll also be recording our minute-to-minute experiences with these.
Yeah, the boys give us a chance.
Now look, I've borrowed these.
I'm not sure if an actual storyline was written from start to finish before they started shooting, but for a kid's show, it was bloody addicting. Let's start with the first episode. The high school's UFO group get to go on a trip to Oz to search for UFOs, or the existence of them, which is the coolest school ever. Not only are they getting a trip to Australia, but they're going to look for aliens. Bruh, talk about an absolute bludge trip. That would be so fun. For some reason, this dude thinks it's dorky to have a health condition, and he doesn't bring his meds for his fits because he doesn't want anyone to know, despite broadcasting it on the tapes that I assume they'd all put together for documentation purposes.
In fact, no, wait, there is one more thing. I will not be taking these with me. I don't need them. It's been 2 years since my last fit. And nobody needs to know, do they?
So long story short,
To make a long fucking story short, I put a whole bag of jelly beans up my ass.
they make it to Oz. This chick messes with the first aid kit because she's sick of the Ranger being a brown nose, I guess.
I can really smell that freshness in the air. It's wonderful.
Oh, I can smell body odour.
Look, that's a bit of a fair statement. Don't be coming to Australia to track it in the bush and then stink up the place. They set up their camp, go to bed, and in the middle of the night this chick hears something, so she goes out of the tent and she starts to see flashing lights. That's it for the end of the first episode. You can see why this show would have been enjoyed by not just kids, but perhaps parents and young adults also. The soundtrack is creepy, it keeps you on your seat, and without realizing it as a child, you've got some pretty funny, relatable, jokey moments that you'd find relatable amongst friends.
Leon's found some new friends, but
This creator here also has a great video discussing how iconic the show actually was at the time, but how it's also a bit bizarre that none of the actors went on to do anything else. I find this incredibly weird, as these faces would have been plastered all over Aussie Kids screens for years. Each episode goes for about 20 minutes, and I believe there are 2 seasons, so we could go through episode by episode and review it. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. And thank you for almost 1,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate the support I've received so far. I can't wait to keep making videos for you all. Don't forget, once we hit 1,000, I will probably make a Discord server so we can all talk that way. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye.